We know there was such a thing called a tzaddik. The tzaddik, according to Tanya, was one who not only did he already eradicate his evil inclination, he transformed it, and a tzaddik, according to the Tanya, doesn't even have an urge or a desire to do anything bad. It's not that he has to fight it. He doesn't even have an urge. The Rasha is not talking about an evil person. It's talking about a person that, like us, we can't, sometimes we give in to our evil inclination. We want something, so we go for it. We desire something that we shouldn't have, and we go for it. And sometimes we have self-control. That's what, according to the Tanya the Rasha. But then there's the middleman, the Beinani. And by the way, the Tanya is called Sefer Shel Beinanim, a book of Beinanim, average person, meaning everyone can reach this level. Everyone can learn Tanya, everyone can reach the level. What is a Beinani according to the Tanya? So we spoke about it in chapter 12, that he really is a righteous person. But what? The tzaddik, the righteous person, has no more evil inclination. He transformed his evil inclination to godliness, to good. But a Beinani, he is able, he still has those urges, he still has that impulse, but he's able to fight it, and he doesn't go after his impulses. So what's the difference between a tzaddik and a Beinani? The tzaddik has no impulse anymore. The Beinani has those evil urges and impulses, right? But he doesn't go after these urges. Just like you and me, right? But he's able to overcome every urge he has. He doesn't follow his evil urges. He still has them, but he overcomes them. In Chassidus, Hamoyach Shelit al Halev. The brain, the intellect, rules over the impulse, the emotions. The lev, the heart, that's where you have your emotions. Your intellect, I want something. I have an urge for something. Whether it's to eat something or do something or go someplace that I'm not supposed to, or whatever it is, right? Or to mingle with people I shouldn't mingle with. It's just not right. It's just not for me, for whatever the reason is, right? And my intellect is telling me, no, you shouldn't do it. Torah says no. It's against halacha. My urge, I want it. Right? So if we say the intellect, the emotions rule over the intellect, that's completely animalistic. Mm-hmm. That's the nefesh habahamis, the animalistic soul. The first rule of thumb for a Beinani, for someone to become a Beinani, is Moyach Shelit Alalev. The intellect, the mind, has to rule over the heart. A Beinani's complete focus and only focus is godliness. How to serve God, period. It doesn't mean he's not a doctor. He can be a doctor and still be a Beinani. He can be a lawyer and still be a Beinani. Doesn't mean he has to sit and learn and daven a whole day. He can use his, as we learned this whole week, Mr. Birg and myself, we learned in the morning, that you can use your materialism, your physicality, and transform everything into spirituality. And that's our purpose on this world, and that's a Beinani, right? His whole focus is godliness. Nothing more, nothing less. It's godliness. I eat, I sleep, I dream, my entertainment, everything is godliness. That's a Beinani. Which means as follows. Do you think, so there's a tzaddik who has no impulse at all, no urges at all, no bad urges, impulses. And then there's a Beinani who has urges. The Beinani looks like a tzaddik. He behaves like a tzaddik, but his emotions are like a Rasha. He behaves like a tzaddik. So when you're looking at him, wow. But no one knows how long it took him to get there. No one knows how much work it took him to get there. No one knows what goes on inside of him. So I have a question for you. Is it possible for a Beinani, I don't say completely, to have sometimes no urge at all, like a tzaddik?
Probably in certain areas.
Like? What do you mean in certain areas?
He's davening.
He said excellent, Richie. You said excellent. You hit it on the nose. Take, for instance, davening. There are times, I myself sometimes gets very involved in my davening, that a person can get so involved in his davening, especially on Shabbos, when no one is in a rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
A person can get so involved in davening, he forgets where he is. There was a great chassid by the name of Rabbi Itche the Masmid. Rabbi Itche the Masmid, he was in a shul with a whole bunch of Jews, with his good friends, and the Germans came and they locked the whole shul and they poured around its kerosene, and that's how we went. Rabbi Itche the Masmid, when he saw what was going on and he saw the flames, people looked through the window. You know what he was doing? He took one arm and his friend put his arm on his shoulder and his arm on his shoulder, and they started dancing to the songs of Simchas Torah. And they said, if we have to go, this is how we're gonna go. That was Itche the Masmid. Itche the Masmid was a person that in order, he said, what does a Masmid mean? Someone who's diligent. He learns a whole night, he learns very, very diligently, right? So he shouldn't fall asleep at night. He used to put both legs into pails. This was in Russia.
Cold
The pails of
ice water.
Ice water. So it should keep him up. Okay? It's very easy by davening to have a Beinani moment, so to speak. To have a moment that we're transformed into a different world. The Kiddush doesn't matter, and the Chum doesn't matter, and the Kugel doesn't matter, and nothing matters. It's just me and God, and I'm davening to God, and when I finish davening slow and at a slow pace and concentrating on what I'm davening, then I'll make Kiddush, and whatever's left over is left over, and if there's nothing left over, I'll make Kiddush, have a piece of challah, that's it. You're transformed. You said it. By davening, you could see certain times people are davening in shul, even in our shul, that you look at their faces, and I see it, and they're not here. Whether it's for 2 minutes by Ashri or Shema or Shemana Esrei, I see it when I look at certain faces. They're just not here. Why? Because davening is the easiest time that we can take that time and transform it into godliness where there is no time or space. And that's having a Beinani moment, which the Beinani has a tzaddik moment. We can have a Beinani moment. The Beinani can have a tzaddik moment. Because at that time we have no urges, we're not thinking, in English I think they call it spaced out. In our lingo they call it in a different world. In the world of godliness, in the world of all the cosmos, the angels. That's why it says, certain times of the year, we have to work, and by the way, this is the whole concept of Hasidic philosophy, Hasidus, to become higher than the angels. We humans were born on a lower level than the angels are. Because the angels aren't born. The angels have their jobs, but they're angels, they're perfect. We have the ability to start off from scratch, from nothing, and to reach higher levels than an angel can.
An angel doesn't have a Yitzhar.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why we can reach higher levels. Why? Because we know what a Yitzhar is. And it's the same thing I spoke a few weeks ago. Why do we say, B'makom shebali tshuva omdin, ain't afilu ein tzadikim gemurim omdim, right? We spoke about it also.
Right. Because they have a harder.
Why? Because
we never went through it.
Wait a minute. There are people that know what the other world is all about. They know what the cheeseburger tastes like, and they know what this
they
tastes.
still gave it up.
Right, and they gave it all up. For what? Not for Rabbi O. Not for Rabbi Z. Or Rabbi G with a capital G. God. Hashem. It's an amazing thing. And it's so hard. I have those urges, but I have self-control. I have self-control. I walk by the McDonald's that I used to eat there, or the Burger King, or wherever it is, or the Trefa restaurants. I don't know where they're, you know? Everyone has their own tests, trials, and tribulations, right? And I hold myself back. I have that urge, right? But now I'm holding myself back. Boom. I just went a step higher, another step higher. Has the urges to change the Torah. Then he has the urges to do everything wrong.
He controls it.
But he is, instead of doing, when I have an urge and I go follow it, right? I'm not going to conform to Yiddishkeit, to this dress, and I'm not going to conform to these customs and to the way you dress and to this and to that, right? What happens then? Why do people have that attitude? I'm not going to dress like that. I'm not going to conform to that. I'm not going to be like that. It's not because they have anything against it. Because they're very selfish. The Beinoni takes that selfishness and makes it selfless. He fights that selfishness. He fights it, right? And decides one thing. I was put on this world because of God. I am here because of God. We're sitting at this table, eating, learning Tanya because of God.
We're part of it. We're a piece of it.
We're going to sleep because of God. We're going to wake up in Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow morning and say, Maidan. Everyone's soul is a chelek elokai mimal mamish. It's a spark of godliness. So that means every single one of us, no matter how observant, no matter how modern, no matter how old-fashioned, no matter how religious, no matter how long the beard is, no matter how white the beard is. We're only talking about two people right here, okay? Okay, and I don't want to go starting to vote. One thing I'll tell you, it doesn't matter. More grayish. We have a chelek elokai mimam mamish.
I didn't cut the mustards.
We have a spark of godliness inside of us. Because of our environments, because of our upbringings, each one of us have different trials and tribulations. And each one of us are going to be judged, not, Eric, why weren't you Arthur? And Arthur, weren't you like Herb? No, we're going to be judged according to ourselves. We're not going to be compared to anyone. What's fair is fair, God says. But God is saying one thing. I gave you tools. I give you everything. I give you eyes. I give you legs. I give you tools. I give you brains. I give you a mind. I give you emotions. Use your emotions right. I have emotions for garbage things. I have emotions for feeling bad for people, for sensitivity. Use your emotions right, and even to feel sensitive. Not all the time should you feel sensitive. Not all the time is that right. Not all the time is it right to do a kindness. Sometimes it's wrong to do kindness to people, depending what they're going to do with that kindness that you do for them. We have to take our selfishness and transform it completely to selflessness. Because the world, and this every Beinani knows, the world doesn't revolve around me. God gave me
The tools.
to refine the world. To make it a finer world. So if I'm using it for selfish reasons, finish. There's nothing wrong with having a nice car. There's nothing wrong with having a nice house. Don't get me wrong. That says selflessness, all they want. When we want to be selfless, what do we want? We want to bring the world, including ourselves, closer to godliness. That's it. That's all we want. I personally don't want anything else. Myself in life, I want my kids, my friends, my congregation, myself, my family, my wife. Our job is to get closer and to bring people closer to God. That's it. Not more, not less. And you know what? It takes a lot of work. But that means it takes a lot of fighting our urges and fighting our selfishness. Shkoyach, have a good night.